welcome to this week's episode of Dark Side of the Moon. I'm Bella, and I'm a psychic medium.
And I'm Nancy, and I'm the paranormal researcher / cousins.
So this week's episode is on cursed dolls, and Nancy, you were the lead investigator for this show,
for this episode.
So take it away.
Yeah. So now, did you know that we even had any cursed dolls?
Yes, I did.
I mean,
there's many cursed items, but dolls freak me out.
Yeah, dolls are pretty freaky. I mean, I had a lot of dolls growing up that I absolutely adored, but I did have a couple that would have like a wonky eye. You know, when you're sleeping,
kind of conk eye.
When you're sleeping in your bed, you're like, oh, let's just turn you this way to the wall.
I had some too that only had one arm.
Right.
One leg.
I used to sleep with like 5 different dolls when I was younger. I had them at strategic places. I had like a 3-foot bunny here.
3 foot?
Yeah, this like Easter bunny broke his ears, did all the way. The two little ones like on my chest.
Are you sure they're not your dolls?
No. Well, all these dolls? No. I had a Cabbage Patch doll on one side, a little monkey one on the other side. I slept for that for years, in a single bed.
Yeah, I didn't have that many.
So anyway, yeah, there are some really creepy dolls that would make you think twice when you go to a flea market and you see like a doll for sale.
Maybe why would anybody buy a doll? I guess maybe if there's an antique, but I would never buy a doll from a flea market.
Yeah, I don't even know if I want to buy anything from a flea market anymore after reading some of these stories, but or at least
you have to really be careful of what you're getting.
Yeah, maybe just bring sage already with you and sage it right in the flea market. If something happens, yeah,
little bottle,
some spray, some like is that Florida water or something, right? Just
no, you can get bottled sage water.
Can you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so as you walk by, you're like, shh.
The owner is trying to figure out why are you spraying my furniture. All right, so we do have pictures of these dolls, so
yes.
So you can have a good look. The first one is Robert, the doll who's always watching.
Now, I know this one.
Get a load of Robert.
Yeah, I've already seen Robert. Robert is not something you want to mess with.
Not really, no. So then, so this is Robert, who originally belonged to author and painter Robert Eugene Otto.
Mm-hmm.
The doll was allegedly known to giggle, run from room to room, cause household accidents, and walk past upstairs windows while the family was away. Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah.
You just see little doll. So Robert was left in the Otto's attic until 1974, when he was passed around from owner to owner before eventually being donated to Florida's Fort East Martello Museum in 1994, where he still resides today. So if you do need to go visit Robert, you can do so. Staff members claim that the doll causes strange activity anytime it is rotated through the museum. Its head is also said to be seen turning to follow museum goers as they pass by. And if I remember from my research, the author himself used to like walk around and like bring the doll places. Like it became his like buddy.
I know quite a bit about this doll. Not that I owned Robert at all, or I've seen it, but I remember I did some research a long time ago on Robert.
Really?
And Robert
Why?
Is a lot because I was doing on cursed objects, and he was one of them that came up that was pretty bad. Robert actually, the owner would actually speak to Robert.
Yes.
And Robert would speak back. But even though Robert is in this museum now, he needs to you cannot take his photo without asking permission.
No, yeah, that's true.
Because if people who have done that have actually had stuff happen to them. There was one story that I there was a lady that was interviewed, and she said that her husband made fun of Robert and he ended up having a heart attack.
Really?
Yeah. So you and it's not just like they had to go back and apologize to Robert before anything could be done, like before they could move on, because the man still had health issues. So it was.
I wonder how the curse actually follows the person to that extent.
The doll actually was cursed because what I had seen and heard was the doll was cursed because the person that actually owned the doll prior to Otto, the guy Otto, it was a lady from Jamaica. and she had gotten a doll as a gift from another man, and he had gotten her pregnant. She I think she was something like the housekeeper, the nanny, or whatever. He ended up getting her pregnant. He got her the doll as like a gift for the child, but the child ended up dying. And she put the spirit of the child in this doll and kind of cursed the guy that way. So that was like kind of the backstory that I had kind of read about it. And ever since then, they've had issues. This doll is not something you want to mess with. So
or visit.
Yeah. The only thing is, I don't tend to really believe in some curses and stuff, but this one, there's something attached to this doll that and there's been a lot of things that have happened to a lot of different people, and usually if you make fun of it. Another lady took a picture with the doll, didn't ask his permission, because there is actually, I believe, a sign that says you have to ask permission to take a picture of Robert. I don't know how Robert agrees to it, but I guess you have to say it. You know, can I take your photo, Robert? And she didn't. She just took a selfie, and shit started. She like lost her job. She nearly lost her house.
Wow, you really wish this Robert.
No, I'm telling you, like I did this. So when you come up, I didn't know the dolls you were doing. Yeah. So when you came up with Robert, I was like, whoa, I know this one.
Yeah.
Sorry to take over your show.
Oh, yeah, that's fine, man, because I just got simple like information. You were like, wow.
Yeah, no. Because I was like, it started like the auto thing, and I started doing some research, and I went back further, and they told you it started. The spirit that's in Robert actually belonged to this
good Lord.
And I don't know if this lady like I don't know if she did voodoo or whatever it was, and she implanted this in the doll, and that kind of like so if you do research, it's actually a very interesting story.
It's on Robert himself.
Just on Robert the doll. It's
yeah. I took 5 or 6, and I was like, smaller chunks. I'm glad I didn't hear about Robert, because that probably would give me nightmares. Okay, so the next one is Mandy, the doll with the sinister smile. Get a load of Mandy. I don't think this is the Mandy that I don't think this is the Mandy that oh my god, who's the singer?
Oh, Mandy.
Oh my god. Why is his name
Barry Manilow?
Barry Manilow. I don't think this is the Mandy he's talking about.
I don't think Mandy's a Fanalo.
I don't think so either. So apparently Mandy has been scaring the absolute shit out of staff members of volunteers at British Columbia's Quesnel and District Museum since 1991.
What's wrong with Mandy's face?
I have no idea. But shortly after she was donated, strange events started happening, like the sounds of disembodied footsteps and vanishing office supplies. Mandy, what happened? She's trying to staple her face, to name a few.
Mom and stuff. She's like, oh,
yeah, let me get some mock-up.
Staple remover looks good.
Yeah, doesn't it?
I think Mandy's getting a blame for some of the stuff.
That's true. If I worked there, I was like, oh, let me steal one. Yeah,
I think Mandy has it.
Several museum guests are made uneasy by her, regularly commenting on her sinister smile and lifelike eyes. We, however, would prefer comment on said attributes from the safety of here. I will not be visiting.
I don't really think she has a sinister smile. It's not like she's showing teeth. She just has a regular smile. I mean, that scar on her forehead seems to be a bit, I don't know, but I mean, she just looks like a regular doll.
Sinister, but why does she have like blood on her lip?
And she part vampire?
Like she's been through some stuff.
She looks like she's been through some serious stuff. So I feel for Mandy. I feel her too. Oh, poor Mandy.
Poor Mandy. Okay, the next one is Okiku, the doll whose hair grows. So take a look at Okiku, people.
It's tiny.
Yeah. Well, she does kind of remind you of like a tiny little Asian.
Yeah.
Lady.
Her hair grows for real?
So her hair apparently grows for real. So in 1918, 17-year-old Ikichi Suzuki, I can say Suzuki, thank God, bought a doll for his sister. For his sister Okiku, she quickly became attached to it, even christening it with her first name. So that's why it's the same name. Sister's name Okiku, and so
so she gave it.
But sadly, she died a year later of an intense fever. The family built a memorial altar in her honor, placing Okiku, the doll, at the center of it. Shortly afterwards, the Suzukis noticed that Okiku's hair was growing, believing that the spirit of her daughter had latched onto the toy. The family donated her to Japan's temple, where she is still on display, and her hair still continues to grow. It's currently 10 inches long.
Wow. I don't know if you know this or not, but look at the doll next to Akiko.
Next to Akiko?
There's another doll there. It's like, is that like...
Isn't that kind of like a Buddha doll though?
I don't know.
And
because I'm like, is that one have a curse too?
And there's a doll on the right as well.
So her hair, like,
it just grows.
It just grows. So that's not really a curse. That's just like her hair.
It's still a paranormal phenomenon.
Yeah. Because I'm like, well, you know, does something happen if you cut her hair?
Didn't say that. I don't think anybody's tried. You want to give it a shot?
mean, I've never had a doll. I actually remember. I remember back in the day, you used to have those dolls that you would pull something and the hair would kind of grow, but then it would go back again.
Yeah, you can pull it back.
Yeah.
I have not a curse doll, but didn't your sister get one too when our dads went to an auction?
The pistol packing mama
the pistol
doll.
Packing mama. I wish I could find that. I tried Googling that all over. I can't find it.
Oh my god. Well, this doll actually wasn't a doll.
No,
it was more like a sex not a sex thing, but
no, it was a man dressed.
What the doll had his 5 o'clock shadow.
Had a 5 o'clock shadow, and when you bopped on his head,
his skirt would open.
His skirt would flip over. Yes,
and like, you know,
it wasn't that. Didn't your mother find out first? Your sister was playing with it. Called my mother.
Yes, yeah.
Bopping on the head.
Yeah. The reason my mom found out was because my sister was playing. My sister came to me and she went, and she was playing with the doll. Mm-hmm. I grabbed it and I saw the doll, the head was kind of like loose. Yeah. And I was like, what kind of, at first I looked at it and I said, this is the ugliest doll I ever seen in my life. It was. And then the head was a little loose, and then I saw like an opening in the skirt. So I started like kind of playing, and I pushed the doll's head down, and it popped out. So I went over to my brother and my sister, and I'm like, look, I'm like, and so I didn't say anything to my mom right away. It wasn't until my brother, I think, was playing with it. It was like, doo, doo. And I was like, what? And then I can hear my mom yelling at my dad, and my dad's like, what? We just thought they were dolls. Yeah, they were like actually pretty big. Yeah. It wasn't like for a novelty piece.
It was a good size doll.
It was a good size doll.
Inches. It wasn't really huge, but I do remember.
Both of our fathers didn't really speak well in English, so
they just saw a doll to buy for their daughters.
I remember reading the package, and it was like a pistol packing mama.
Yeah,
that's what it's called.
She was packing,
and it had a man wearing a purse. It was just like a weird yellow top with a polka dot skirt.
Is that what it was?
Polka dot.
I keep thinking like it was almost like an orangey red dress, but.
No, I believe it was like yellow halter, like a sleeveless shirt on the top, and then like the.
Well, you're older than me, so I was only like 6 or 7. So you remember
the dress had like the dress I believe was red with white polka dots. Yeah, and that's when it was like kind of like would open up, but it was just like a weird looking doll. So yeah, so that would have been cursed. My mom cursed my dad.
yeah.
So yeah, so. My dad
and then our parents then your mother called my mother, and then the dolls were
circumcised in our house.
Circumcised, castrated.
And so did yours.
There's a difference. Castrated.
Yeah.
So the next curse doll is Harold. Take a good look at Harold here. So Harold pretty much tops the list of things that make you say, oh hell no. This doll was listed on eBay in 2003.
Harold's does he have eyes? Because
he doesn't look like it. It looks off.
Yeah, it's like he's got like one eye.
Yeah, so
one eye Harold.
That's it. I had those dolls too, like these creepy one-eyed dolls. Yeah. But he was listed on eBay in 2003, where the seller alleged that his presence in their home caused the death of their cat. Why would you put that in the listing?
Yeah, because that's
gonna tell me.
I'm sold.
Yeah. And also the end of their relationship, chronic migraines, and the seller even heard the disembodied voices of children playing in their basement. Why would you put this in the ad? I guess because you would probably get people that are so intrigued by cursed things, it would raise the price, right?
I guess
There are people that would want these things.
I guess, but I mean, it would have to be people that had no children and no pets.
Yeah. So Harold was passed around from owner to owner for the next several years. He's been rumored to have caused various deaths and illnesses. His last owner was Anthony Kinata, who claims to have exorcised the doll and has sworn to never speak of Harold again. We don't blame you, Anthony.
Anthony's like, yeah, we get demons.
But apparently he's fine. But what? Yeah, I think that's the only reason you would do this, because it plays up the.
So did he bury him now that he's exercised? He doesn't look like a dog you'd want to play with.
He's just
so I'm sure
didn't say anything about burying.
He just exercised him and he has him in his home.
That's
Probably.
about it. And he never speaks of Harold again.
Okay, what makes it sound like Harold's not there?
Well, that's just it.
He probably threw him away.
So the next one is the corpse mannequin. Yeah. Not so great. What do you think of the corpse mannequin? Just on first look.
It just it is definitely creepy.
Yeah.
But it looks almost real.
Right. Well, here we go. So this little lady is in the storefront attraction of the popular bridal shop in Chihuahua, Mexico, where she stood for over 80 years. Locals were initially unnerved by her lifelike appearance and the striking resemblance she bore to the owner's late daughter.
No.
Oh, yeah. Rumors quickly spread that the mannequin was actually the young woman's embalmed corpse.
You wouldn't.
Yeah. Some grieving parents would, maybe, right?
Oh,
I don't.
God,
to this day, it still attracts fascinated tourists hoping to catch a glimpse of her varicose veins, magnetic eyes, and eerily realistic hands, which are covered in fine lines, thin hairs, and fingernails.
She's still in the window?
Yeah, that's what it says. Of La Pascualatia. That's the name of the store. It's a barbershop.
Pascalita?
Sure.
Pasculita? La Casa de la Pascalita.
I think so. I don't know. It was like.
I think there's something wrong with your casa.
Yeah, talk about no.
Yeah. Would you think that that's actually the girl?
Yeah. By looking at it, it does look like an embalmed.
It doesn't look mannequin like.
No,
it looks too realistic.
Right. It doesn't look it's not mummified, it looks embalmed.
And 80 years ago, I don't think anybody would have had there's no AI years ago in order to be able to
make it that realistic.
and with varicose veins and all this other stuff.
But they must have had, well, we've always had some sort of embalming things that we could always.
Oh, they've always had embalming. That's not the thing, but the fact that she's so well preserved.
Yeah.
And in the window,
yeah.
I'm sure they get sun and stuff.
Oh,
so does she take them out? Like, I guess the only way you can really know is a mannequin doesn't weigh anything. So if you go there and that's got some weight to it, then
would you want to touch it? I wouldn't go anywhere near it.
These people have some explaining to do.
And so the last doll is the infamous, everybody knows about, Annabelle. And
yeah,
people are always surprised to see what Annabelle actually looks like as opposed to, the movie.
Well, the movie version.
Annabelle, because the Annabelle actually is like a Raggedy Andy type doll, right?
Yeah.
So the story of Annabelle involves a young nursing student, Donna, who received the Raggedy Ann as a birthday present from her mother. Man, I cursed my mother for giving me this doll. Donna and her roommate Angie soon became convinced that the doll was alive. Following weeks of increasing bizarre incidents, including repeatedly coming home to find the doll had changed positions. Well, yeah, that would be creepy. Or moved to a different room. Following an incident in which their friend was attacked by an unseen force, the girls reached out to the infamous investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. Mm-hmm. We both love Ed and Lorraine. Actually, I knew Lorraine when she was like her writing stories when she was still alive. I didn't see so much of Ed's stuff.
When you said that, I thought you were going to say, I knew Lorraine. I'm like,
no.
You told me you met her.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
That would have been really cool. So then Ed and Lorraine who brought Annabelle to their occult museum where she still resides, I believe.
Yeah,
It
their
resides today.
museum is actually in their home. But I do have to say, because this is another one I researched as well, because I
Right.
did Robert and Annabelle. Lorraine does have a priest come every day and bless her basement because she's got a lot of different curse stuff
Is Lorraine
like that.
what?
She died.
I thought she
probably-
died already. Right?
Yeah, but her daughter took over it.
Mm.
So her only child. She does it, and her. And so, and Lorraine's things like, when I tell you not to touch anything in here, you don't touch anything in here,
Well, yeah.
right?
She's like a Portuguese mother. Hey,
Yeah.
I told you not
No
to touch
touch, no touch. And I mean, there was enough when even the priest would say he would go there every day on the clock and do a blessing in the place. And he'd say every time he would get near not just a doll, but even near the room, because it's full of cursed objects, which one of our next episodes will be on just cursed objects, not just dolls.
Mhm.
He say that he would feel like a heat coming, like he would get like start to sweat, and he would
start to feel faint, and
yeah, he would start to like he would feel the energy that was coming from it, and it wasn't good. So he was like, I do the blessing, and then I'm out. Peace out.
at least he was strong enough to even want to come back all the time and do the blessing.
It was always the same. I think it was her parish priest. It was always the
Right.
same one.
So at least he believed it.
Yeah, I don't know if he's like Lorraine's already passed over, so
It's probably a different priest.
yeah, it's probably a different priest now. I know the daughter has inherited it, so I don't know what they'll do because it's an only child, and I don't know if the daughter has children. So it's like, what do you do with these? Because I think it's her basement of her house. It's full of objects.
But Lorraine's and Ed's mission was to try to keep these objects contained, right? It wasn't because they wanted a museum.
No, they had no choice. It's because when they would do an investigation, like the Annabelle doll,
Yeah.
The person's like, I don't want this anymore. And they're just like, well, we can't keep it here because it's going to move on to somebody else. It's just going to cause more havoc. So they brought it back, and that's how it started. They started to accumulate. It was like, another person was like a knife, another one was something else. So it, and then after so many years, because they did it for 50 years or something, whatever.
That's scary.
After a while, and she's like, and I have to be sure that this room is always closed, nobody comes in here. So it's very little people that actually went in the room,
right?
And it had to be blessed every day. The priest would go in there and bless it.
I would not want to live there.
She did. She lived in the basement. She was in the basement.
It
was in the basement, and I don't know if the daughter.
I was like, rent out a storage unit somewhere.
I know. I think
it
it was just kind of like, well, where are we going to put this? Well, we'll put it down here for now, and then it just accumulated.
It's safekeeping because you don't have to worry about if somebody breaking in, if it was someplace else, and it's all contained. So yeah, I mean, all the viewers out there, would you think twice now buying something at a flea market or a yard sale?
Or do you believe in curses?
Right.
So, do you believe an object can be cursed?
I believe an object you can put negative energy on an object. I don't know about cursing, but definitely.
Well, that's what cursing really is.
Kind of, right. Or if you're always being negative and you're transferring your negativity on something, then yeah, I could see why that would happen.
Yeah.
Maybe not to these extents, but.
My experience with stuff is, I'm putting a curse on someone. I'm kind of like on the fence because there's certain things where it's like you can pick something up, and some of these people have no clue that this was cursed, and all of a sudden they had all of this stuff. Their life really started falling apart. And then there's other ones where it's like, well, a curse has been put on me, and it's like, and then when it's physically put on a person, that's when I have a hard time with it, because as a human being, you can, if you accept it, then it makes it, then you're giving it energy, because you're the conduit. You're the one who's giving it energy. So somebody can send you a curse, and I've seen that happen. But then once you know about that, then your fear is feeding it, and it just making it worse. Whereas,
do you think it's real then, or it's just psychosomatic? Because
I think you're starting it. You're giving that spark that it needs. Right. So it's kind of like, I can give you a match, but unless you take that match and light it up, nothing really is going to happen. Because I've seen it both ways. So I've seen it where it was like, person like, I'm cursed, and they've actually cursed themselves because
Okay, that's where the negative energy comes
Yeah.
in.
And,
This is my theory.
and then they've gone to other people where they've gone to a different psychic medium, and psychic medium is like, oh, you were cursed, and you're just like, and then all of a sudden they're just like, oh, I've been cursed. That's why all this stuff started happening to me after she told me that. It's like, well, she told you that, and you gave it legs.
Yeah.
Because up until then you weren't. So it's kind of like a fine line, really, the thing. So if you think you're cursed, then you're giving it energy. Stop saying you're cursed.
Well, it's like people that say I'm unlucky.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm unlucky. I never have any luck. Same thing. I think the more you say things to yourself, which is why you should start to flip that script. It's telling yourself that, why am I so lucky all the time? Why am I always winning these things? Why start being more positive so you can manifest good
So
things.
that's why with objects it's a little different, because it's like, if people are grabbing, it's one thing if they know that it's cursed, then you're also feeding that. But some of these objects I've seen where people have no idea that they were cursed, and they picked it up, and all of a sudden they started having these things happen to them ever since they got that item into their home.
Yeah, how do you explain that?
Yeah, that I don't have a heart. I can't explain it.
Because if you have no idea, then you're not feeding it.
So clearly, whoever it has attached itself to, there is some kind of entity that's attached there, and some kind of energy, and it's a lower vibe energy, and it's there to create havoc. So it could be attached, and people, like everything, you can have attachments. So you can have attachments to that stuff too. So let us know what you think.
Yeah. Would it stop you from buying
oh, for sure. I'm not buying any dolls. All right, well, thank you everybody for joining us.